Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming. In today's video, we are going to be talking about and going through one aim tip for every hero in Overwatch. Now these tips are going to be very helpful, but if you guys really want to take your Overwatch skills to the next level, then you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you can possibly be. Doesn't matter if you want to get better positioning, decision making, aim, or just anything else, we have solutions for you. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, let's jump on into things, and what better place to start with than the tanks? And first off in the tanks, we have REINHARDT, the most traditional tank, and there isn't a lot of aiming on this hero, but there is some tech to understand. When swinging on an enemy, you do not want to be looking directly at them, but a little bit to the left or right of them. It is crucial to realize Rein's damage hitbox from his hammer is sort of like a rectangle, and looking to the right or left of your target will increase the range in which you can hit them from. But let's move on to Winston, and contrary to popular belief, Winston's normal fire does not have this rectangle type hitbox, meaning looking to the side has no effect on range. But his primal rage, on the other hand, is a different story. It's another lingering hitbox of damage. And the best way to aim it is to start moving your mouse in the same direction as the hand when he swings left or right to left. Moving on though, we have ROADHOG, and his main quirk being his hook. You cannot just throw it out in hopes of hitting your target, therefore it is crucial to wait until your target is in a predictable movement pattern. This means something like a mid-jump animation to be able to hit it consistently. Same thing for his long-range right-click, however this can be used a little bit more liberally because it doesn't have as long of a cooldown. D.Va though is an interesting case in the sense that you will always get the most damage when shoved into the enemy's face. When aiming on her, try to aim around the enemy's neck area, as the spread of her bullets will almost all miss when aiming for the head, whereas otherwise you can get a lot more damage at range just by aiming at the body. For Orisa, when aiming your javelin, the key is to use your spin to make the enemy's place slightly off the floor. This does two things. One, it makes them unable to move as they please, and two, it allows you to move faster than them, meaning you will always be directly in front of them for a perfect javelin hit, and in which case you are able to shoot them in the head as they are stunned into the wall. They can't move, it's hard to miss. Next up, Wrecking Ball has the benefit of always being able to make the enemies have predictable movement patterns. Before looking to shoot an enemy that's on full HP, you have the freedom to boop and slam them, both of which can make it very easy to know what direction that they will go in, and that makes shooting them 10 times easier. For Ramattra, aiming punches will always be pretty simple, but it is important to understand the type of movement that you want to do with your mouse. Ramattra, for example, will never be a tracking hero in terms of punching in regular form. He tracks from afar. You want to keep this in mind when punching enemies to death with micro flicks, as they will be very close to you and this will help you land more consecutive hits. ZARYA, on the other hand, is all about tracking, and sometimes that can be very difficult. Regardless of your charge, try to shoot a right click at your target's feet, causing them to gain some upwards momentum, making their movement significantly easier to track. And when looking for right clicks from afar, try to anticipate the enemy's movement to dodge your incoming damage. Next up on Doomfist, large flicks are going to be the go-to for any non-stun situation. However, knowing how to correctly aim your punch or making it easier for yourself is absolutely key. The most consistent way you will generally hit your punch is from an angle that is least expected, and you can do so by using your shift, as even if you are directly in front of your target, leaping behind them before stunning them into a wall will certainly leave them confused. Sigma is all about predicting where the enemy will move next. Doesn't matter if it's with a rock, your primary fire, or even with your ultimate. So again, you want to make sure that you're waiting for the enemy to move predictably, and this will make a massive difference and even make the difference between a 1-man ultimate or a 5-man ultimate, or even a successful stun with your rock so that your team can then burst that target down. And lastly, the difference between a good or bad Junker Queen is the consistency in which you can hit your knife, so that you can pull them back in for an easy slice with your axe. The key here is to not actually be looking to hit the knife when the enemies are moving predictably when walking towards you, but to look to hit the knife once you force situations where the enemies are pressured away from you, which Junker Queen does an amazing job of doing so. Moving forward though, let's talk about the supports. And first up, ZENYATTA. This is one of those heroes that can find a full 100 to 0 with his right click, or miss absolutely everything. But the absolute best advice we can give you is that you miss every kill opportunity you don't take. So whenever enemies are coming back from spawn or potentially about to walk out of a choke, blast a full volley of orbs into it, and you will be surprised more often than not how many picks you can actually find a match. Next up, Mercy. This is a true test of skill when it comes to aiming. But seriously though, her bullets hitboxes are way too big considering the kill threat she has in Valk form. Do not underestimate the single target damage you have when looking for an enemy sniper. For example, the best advice we can give for her, which is really somewhat aim related, is when looking to res, spaz your mouse around, causing your head hitbox to move rapidly and giving enemies a very hard time if they are positioned to attempt to deny. Now for Ana, aiming on her can feel very frantic. Your Genji's dashing all around the place, spamming I need healing, but once you realize how big your healing shot hitboxes are, you may not actually feel so pressured to be hitting the shots. We recommend that you get comfortable with your unscoped and scoped shots and feeling out when to use each, as swapping between them too often will cause a devastating decrease in your healing output. When you scope to unscope or vice versa, there is a delay between whether you can shoot your next shot, and over time this can really add up. For Moira, when aiming your skill orb to go out and leech off an enemy, try to aim it so that even if it doesn't hit someone right away, it will bounce off a wall or straight back into the fight, making it so you never miss an orb again. Additionally, when aiming to heal your team, being mindful of your heal going through a target will help you line up and aim to hit multiple allies, saving crucial resources. Now for Lucio, this is the fastest support by far. He has a devastating one-shot combo which can be extremely difficult to pull off, but with practice, we feel confident you may be able to pull this in a game or two. It's no secret his shots are very hard to hit consecutively, as the speed in which they move is very slow. But when looking to engage on a target, try to jump off a wall. Just as you do, boop them, causing them to be in the air in a predictable movement pattern, and your increased speed from jumping off the wall will cause you to be able to get right in their face and deliver a triple headshot and punch them to finish them off. Now the difference between a really good and a really bad Brig player is your inspired uptime. Making sure you're able to keep constant passive healing for your team is key to keeping your team healthy, and also getting your ultimate up as fast as possible. So although you will want to keep your flail for when your enemies are attempting to engage on you or your other support, try to be in distance to hit one every now and then on the biggest hitbox target you can find. For Baptiste, you can fire instant healing and also damage at the same time, although this will require some insane multitasking capabilities, so make sure before you go Rambo DPSing the enemies down, you burst out as much healing as possible. And instead of aiming your heals directly onto a target, you should be looking to aim them to the middle of your team. This will cause your team to need less healing shots and allow you to DPS the enemies as much as you like. For KIRIKO, healing has a travel time towards the target, meaning if your team is in an emergency, you may want to consider if off-angling was the best option to try and find a pick onto an enemy support or sniper, as by the time your heals get to your target, they may already be dead. Therefore, being as close to your team as possible in scenarios this may occur is crucial, and distinguishing between when these scenarios can occur is the difference between the best and worst KIRIKO players. Now when using LIFEWEAVER's petal form, it is important to remember that it can bounce off of walls, and it can also be stopped by platforms being above it. To get the most value from this ability, make sure you both aren't shooting it into a wall so you can position it as you like, and you're placing it somewhere where your team can gain the most value from it. But now let's talk about the DPS, and first off, on Tracer, it can be extremely tricky to keep your crosshair on your target, but one great tip to help do this is to mirror your target's movement. This way you won't even need to move your crosshair to keep it perfectly on them, until they change direction, in which case you can change with them. For Cassidy, it can feel great to whip out rapid shots looking to get in as many dinks as possible. However, it is super important to make sure that each missed shot leads to your crosshair being closer onto your target, and by the time it reaches them you have enough bullets left, so being patient when you are shooting will help you save your roll and certainly help you hit more shots. Everyone is deadly scared of a charged up SOJOURN. Whilst farming charge of your railgun, the enemy will be looking to get back behind cover when you reach 100% charge. Therefore, preparing to pre-aim at the wall in which your target will run behind will lead to the easiest SOJOURN headshot imaginable. On Sombra, unlike Tracer, it is preferable to be mid-range with your target, as after you gain your hack on them, your damage output is insane. Ensuring you are about 5 meters away is crucial to dealing consistent damage and being in the perfect spot to track your target. Now Bastion's ult gets a lot of criticism, but when perfected, you can consistently find multiple picks. Using one shot to bait the enemies to move in a certain direction, and then using the rest or using all three in a direction that a target is currently rotating can be a great way to aim this ultimate. Now being one of the pokiest heroes in the game, HANZO, much like ZENYATTA, benefits from spamming choke points and finding random picks. But the opposite applies when being confronted in a duel situation. Being extremely patient with each arrow, as you must usually win within a few, is key. And once you learn to watch the enemy attempt to evade your shots, you may even find holding your crosshair still will allow the enemy to walk straight into it regardless of distance. Now Junkrat benefits highly from being as close to your enemy as possible, and aiming on him is not so necessary when in those situations where the enemies are just directly in front of you, as one grenade and one mine will instantly finish them off. Look to use your mines to get as close to the enemy backline as possible, creating extremely easy opportunities for eliminating your target. On Echo, you can either hold down or click to fire each shot, and you absolutely do not want to hold it down. The control you have on each shot will increase significantly by doing this, and you will find the exact timing by yourself, otherwise you will potentially mistime it. This can be compared to Cassidy, where you would not track on Echo nor Cassidy, as each shot fired has a gap between them, and your aim must be adjusted in between this gap. Savoring your ammo on Ashe is key to always being able to output consistent damage. However, when fighting to the death with any target, the highest burst damage you can find will consist of an initial scope shot followed by consecutive unscope shots. And if your target will leave your line of sight, another scope shot. Doing this comfortably means understanding the difference in your unscoped and scope sensitivity, scoped actually being different than Widowmaker or Ana's as it's not scoped in. Reaper is all about gaining rhythm between his shots, and timing that between your movement, whether it's going forwards, backwards, left, or right. Making sure you are in rhythm with each of your shots can help you gain this odd flow that significantly helps aiming on that lethal area for spread targets, the neck. TORBJORN's height causes him to feel extremely odd, but besides the little man syndrome he has going on, he compensates with insane damage output. Unlike Reaper, where you can aim on the neck of your opponent, you can run circles around your enemy, staying super close and outputting more damage than Reaper with your overload shotgun, and aiming on the body of your target will certainly cause them to die instantly. When looking to output as much damage on Soldier, aiming initially on the upper body is crucial, as the recoil will end up with you still hitting multiple headshots, draining your target's HP bar rapidly. It is also important to note that when using your tactical visor, it is not time to chillax, as you can hit headshots while ulting as long as your crosshair is on them, so make sure to do this whilst in ult. A hero with rocket travel time as slow as Pharah can cause picks to be incredibly difficult, especially from afar, but something to take advantage of which will help understanding where to aim your rockets 10 times easier is that when you fire 2 rockets from afar, your target will almost never recognize where the second rocket goes. So for example, if your target is rotating somewhere, launching one rocket in the direction he is going will make him go the other way, and launching another in the new direction will surely hit. Symmetra's beam has an odd interaction where it becomes larger the higher level it is, making aiming 10 times easier on small targets such as Tracer when it's already at level 3. So even if your intent is to not kill, charging your beam up on tanks before looking to kill other smaller targets will significantly help tracking them and increase your overall damage. When it comes to playing Widow, there is no secret tip to hitting crazy flick shots where you hit your targets across your screen, but the absolute best Widow players can make it look so easy, even against some of the best players in the world. This is because their crosshair placement is so good that they barely have to move their mouse to eliminate their enemy, so anticipate where your target can come from and aim accordingly. The hardest part about playing Genji is being in range to make your right clicks much easier to hit, but aiming is so easy when in appropriate range. Therefore, the best aim tip we can give for Genji is ensuring you can consistently be in the proper range to do so, only dashing at his maximum range or aiming your dash at the feet of your target, causing you to hit the floor and stopping right at them. Mei's left click is insanely easy to hit as it slows your targets while you hit them, making it easier and easier. This followed up with a right click can be insanely high pick potential if close enough, but from afar we recommend charging your right click and then looking to flick towards them, not beforehand. This will feel odd when starting out as it's counterintuitive, but as you practice it, it will feel so much more easier to hit headshots. But let me know your favorite aiming tip in the comments down below, and if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Overwatch tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Thanks all for watching. Once again, I'm ZENYATTA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.